Yeah, there we go. Hey guys, so I wasn't planning on doing this video, but yesterday I was rewatching episode 9 so I could then talk to you guys about what exactly I wanted, plot details, things like that, for episode 9. But yesterday, rewatching episode 8 for the first time since watching it in the cinemas, I just want to talk about the points which I made a note of throughout the film. Now, I haven't just written down the bad stuff. I have written down the things I liked as well, just to try and show some balance. And there is a lot of things in this film I did like, which is why I hate this film so much, because you've got really good scenes, and they're in this bad. Okay, I need to stop saying bad and crap and things like that. I need to actually explain. I need to explain myself. So, this film, where it struggled and where it didn't work was so my main issues with this film was the dialogue. There's a lot of occasions where the dialogue just isn't what you'd expect in a Star Wars film. Now, I'm not against the Star Wars universe moving forward and getting more down with the times, or whatever you want to say. But that first scene at the start of the film, where you've got... Yeah, I've got it here, haven't I? Yeah. So, where you've got General Hux and Poe Dameron having that conversation, and it's like, oh, I'll hold. You know, waiting for a reply or whatever. And you've got Poe Dameron saying, you know, a joke about his mother. You know, that's not needed. You know, it's fine bringing it into... No, it's not fine, because when you change it that much and it doesn't work, and you've got that and you've got that comedy, but the chances are that that comedy suits people who don't even like Star Wars, it doesn't work. If it was later in the film, you know, you've just come into this film. If it was later in the film, and it seems a bit more understanding why these guys are having this actual conversation, then maybe it would have been better. But having it right at the start of the film just didn't work. It's as simple as that. And that whole opening scene was a bit so you've got Poe and BB-8 talking about saving the fleet, and it's just classic Disney. You know, in these films you always have that scene where it's like, oh, we've got to work together and we've got to do this like as quick as we can so we can save everyone in the world and the universe and things like that. You're always going to have that in these films. But the good films know how to say that message, but say it with some originality. Say it in their own words, rather than just, oh, we've got to do this and save the universe. Okay, yeah. So when the bombers come in, and they're supposed to drop these bombs on the whatever it's called, destroyer? No, it's not a destroyer. Harbinger? No, what's it called? A dreadnought. When they got to drop these bombs on the dreadnought, I'm not going to talk about the design of these bombers. Just go on YouTube and just type in Last Jedi bombers, and you have people which is basically saying my opinion on them anyway, so we won't talk about that. But when these bombers are coming in, and you've got that last one, and you've got Paige that's in the gunner's seat, and then Poe tells her, you know, Paige, you're the last one, you gotta do it. So she gets out, fine. She goes up the ladder, fine. The remote's there. She keeps stretching, she doesn't get it, she doesn't think, oh, let's get one more, and then we can just get it. But, spur of the moment, fine, I'll allow it. She then falls down, the remote's at the top, and she's just kicking this thing. So cliche. That's been in so many films where something's on the ledge, you got to kick it, and then it comes down. But that's fine. Give reference to other films, fine, I'll allow it. My biggest problem with the scene, though, when it came down, you see it she's lying straight like that, and then it's coming down, and you see it go past her and go like that. Her arms haven't moved, she's still flat, but it's come past her. And the next scene, it's there and it's slow, and then just a hand grabs it. No. Simple answer, no. You can have all that. You can have all that reference and cliche and everything. I'll allow it. But when it comes down and it's already past her and she hasn't moved, there's no way that she'll then be able to grab it. No way. And that just encompassed the film. Really, no, it didn't. But it encompassed that opening scene. It was just so record. It was so mis-edited. It was so, you know, there's a lot of things that happen in this film, and when you think about how each scene ends, you know, you have a header for each scene, and you have a line or paragraph or whatever for how the scene ends. How each scene ends, I'm fine with. You know, I'm looking forward to episode 9 to bring J.J. Abrams back and give us a good film with this continued story. I mean, I'm really excited to see what he does. But at the end of each scene, you know, everything I liked, everything that happened, I liked. It was just the way it was shot or the dialogue in that scene. So this opening scene, for example, when you think about the actual things that happened, I really liked that opening scene. You know, I liked the fact that Poe was stalling against General Hux so he could charge up whatever it was, the thrusters or whatever, so he could get closer to the dreadnought and then take out the surface cannons. I like that. And then you've got what else? You've got the people coming up from the planet, and you've got the dreadnought. The dreadnought looks awesome. It does. It really looks really cool. And then it has that cannon, and then it was firing down on the planet, and then it was going to take out the cruiser. But I like the fact that Poe had that that disobedience to Leia. You know, this legend, Leia. He's not listening to her. He's doing his own thing, and in the end, he takes out the dreadnought because of it. And I like the fact that Leia picks up on the fact that, and obviously she will because she is the leader. That she picks up on the fact that you've lost all these ships. You know, I really liked everything that happened in that scene, and that carries on throughout the whole film. It's just what lets it down is certain shots, like the remote coming down past Paige. I'm pretty sure her name is Paige. Coming down past Paige, and then she somehow grabs it. And then you've got these little bits of dialogue as well, and it just really lets it down. You know, this film, when he pitched it to Lucasfilm or whatever, he probably had these things that I've just said, but he wouldn't have included the dialogue and the thing coming down and it missing and then getting it. You know, he wouldn't have included that. He just would have included the base plot points, which is really good. But we know what film we got, so really disappointed. Now, I'm aware of the time. I don't want to make this video too long, and I think I've pretty much summed up my whole point about The Last Jedi in that one little run there. So, tell you what, for the rest of the thing, I'm just going to pick out certain things, and we're just going to go from there. So we then go, from that opening scene, we then go and see Rey and Luke, and the lightsaber toss. But there's a lot of scenes in this film with Luke where he's got two sides to his character. He's got the jokey, the character which, actually all of these characters in this film has those two sides. It doesn't feel like it's one person driving that person. It doesn't feel like it's one, how can I explain that? Okay, all of these characters in this film have two sides, apart from Poe, apart from Leia, apart from Hux, apart from Snoke. You know, there's a few characters which do have that One Direction character, which is good. You know, because when you think about those characters, I really enjoyed those characters in this film because they have one thing that's driving them forward. Even Kylo Ren, you know, he doesn't have two sides to his character. He has one side to his character, but he just has some development throughout the film. When you look at Rey and Luke, they've got the comedic side to them and they've got the serious side to them. And when you come from Force Awakens, where Rey was completely serious and she made a few jokes here and there, I much preferred the Force Awakens Rey to what we got in The Last Jedi. Because in The Last Jedi, you've just got two characters. You've got two characters, and the character you get depends on the scene itself. So if it's a serious scene, when they're talking about, I don't know, but when they're talking about Kylo Ren, for example, it's serious Rey. But when anything else, whether it's in training, all of the training stuff was her having a laugh and a joke. And there's a scene where Rey is practicing with her stick, whatever you call it, stick, long baton, whatever you call it, and she picks up the lightsaber and she's swinging again, and that's cool. Yeah, it was really well choreographed. And I like the fact that Rey did that as well. Daisy Ridley. I like the fact that she did that. No stunt, anything like that. She actually did it. But then she swings and she cuts the rock in half. And it doesn't... Luke doesn't bring up the fact that, you need to learn to control your aggression, you need to learn to control your actions, and things like that. What happens instead is Luke turns away as if, oh, why did you do that? Like, why did you just cut that rock in half? And then you've got the natives, and the rock tumbles down and it knocks out their trolley. And that scene, which could have been about control, which is a big point in this film and the Star Wars universe in general, being able to control your inner force. Luke brings it up before when she has that vision of the dark place on the island. Yeah, this is really poorly done, but I'm sorry. But this film's about control, and yet that scene you could have brought up again, the fact that Rey didn't control her aggression, and she didn't just like keep on going around the rock without touching it. Instead, that turned into a comedic moment, and it wasn't. I probably gave off a little smirk in the film watching it the first time, but it's not what it should have been, and that's this whole film. It's not what it should have been. It could have been so much better, and it's so annoying. So annoying. So Rey, you've got the two characters, and it just wasn't good. All of the scenes where Rey's serious, I think was good. I think it was good. I think when you look at the film on the whole, I think Rian Johnson, he's very... I'm not saying very. He's good. He was good at the serious stuff. He was good at the Snoke throne room. He was good at the Luke backstory. Not backstory, because some of it was crap, but the Luke flashback, some of the serious stuff, some of it was good. But all of the comedic stuff, I don't think was good. I don't think it was what it should have been. And there's different types of humour. You've got the common comedy, which you get like 6 or 7 films that come out every year that has that same type of comedy, and then you've got the more subtle, you've got the more precise bits of comedy, which would be in, like, for instance, last night I watched John Wick 2. There's some comedy in that film, but that's subtle and it works. I just wish that in Force Awakens the comedy was fine, in the original trilogy the comedy was fine. I just wish they could have carried it on. They didn't need to do as much as they did in this film. It seemed like they did really well on Force Awakens, they did really well on Rogue One, and then just come into this film, they just thought, okay, let's just have a bit of laugh and a joke. Let's just, we'll have the serious stuff for the fans that want that kind of stuff, but then we'll also have some light-hearted stuff, just so everyone gets what they want. And you can't do that with Star Wars. You can never please everyone. But when you... Star Wars is a serious thing to a lot of people. And when you make it 50% comedy and 50% serious, and you just don't do either of them very well, you're going to have that conflict. You are. And it's just a real shame, but what can you do? The film's out. It's fine. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so I've got a lot of points here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages talking about certain scenes and things like that. Let's just pick out the odd thing here and there. Okay, Rose. I'm not going to talk about Rose in this video. If you want to hear my opinion on Rose, go on my episode 9 new character revealed ? Even though there was a new character revealed. Go on that video and I'll talk about Rose in that film. So please go check that out if you want to hear what my opinion on Rose. Because I'm not going to talk about it in this video. Let's talk about Del Toro's character. I can't think of what his name was. But he was the Codebreaker. He wasn't the original Codebreaker with the red, whatever it was, badge, whatever, in the white suit in the casino with a red bloom flower or whatever Maz calls it. That guy, I want to see that guy again in the future at some point. Why not? I just want to see him. Because he seems to be, he's the one that Maz recommended. So I want to see how, maybe, because I want to see Maz return as well in person rather than on a hologram. So maybe in episode 9 we can get Maz and we can get his Codebreaker and they can work together and they can then go forward. And maybe, because I want them to bring Del Toro's character back as well, so maybe the 3 of them can do a little mission on their own. And then you can have like a bit of conflict between Del Toro and the original Codebreaker that we were supposed to get. That would be cool. But Del Toro's character in this film, I liked him on the whole. Yeah, he's... No, I did, I liked him. He's one character which, he never really had 2 sides. He was never serious, basically. He was always that one character. He was always that kind of jokey character throughout the whole film. I liked he had a little stutter. That made him a little bit more unique. And yeah, on the whole, I liked him. I liked the fact that he, I remember he portrayed the Resistance, but I couldn't remember when the deal was done to portray him and how he portrayed them. Originally, when I was watching the film, I thought he portrayed them by letting the First Order know that they were coming there to do the thing, but it wasn't. They got caught, and then Del Toro got taken off, and then he was questioned, and he struck a deal to be let go, and he gave him the information about the plan for the little cruisers to come off of the main resistance cruiser, and then go off onto the plan. He told him that plan. So that was the deal, which I'm glad. I'm glad that I could figure that out. But one thing I didn't like with the character or the decisions the character made, and it makes me think it was Disney. It was Disney that did this, because Disney are all about throwing it down your throat that everyone has a good side, and just things like I wish I could say it in a good speech here to you guys what I'm trying to say. But so Del Toro's character, so this is on the way to Snoke's ship. They're going through hyperspace. Del Toro's there, Rose is there, and Finn's there. And Del Toro's talking about payment for this job, and Rose is sat there, and she has that necklace, the necklace that her sister had as well, who died at the start. Paige, actually, yeah, we know her name. They were sisters, and she was obviously upset about that because she was killed. But so Rose is wearing this necklace, and Del Toro's like, that. Well, I want that, and he asks for it, and Rose gives it to him reluctantly. And then that's the end of it. And then Del Toro goes downstairs, Finn comes after him, and he's like, give it back, you know, that's her, that's personal. And then later on, we see Del Toro use it to basically hotwire a First Order console when they're on the Snoke ship. And then he gives it back to her. Why? Why didn't Del Toro just tell Rose, I'm gonna need this necklace when I come onto the ship, because it's the best conductor to be able to hotwire this system, or however you want to call it. Why didn't you just say that? And then there would have been no hostilities. There would have been nothing. There would have been no tension at all. And that's not just the only time that poor decision making happened in that film, because obviously we know Holdo, Commander Holdo, whatever the fuck her name is, Holdo and Poe, and the rest of the crew. Now I was thinking about this. Maybe Holdo didn't tell the plan to the whole crew because she was worried that there was a traitor on board. Maybe that's why she didn't want to say anything. And that's completely, I was thinking about this, and that's fair enough. That plan is fine. But when you've got Poe Dameron, a guy who would risk it all to save the Resistance, he's not a traitor, and Leia knows this, and Leia would have, maybe Holdo just didn't trust Poe as well. Maybe. It's just... Either way, they could have... If Holdo didn't tell anyone because she didn't trust anyone, then that's fair enough. That is fair enough. But the issue is, again, they could have made that better and work better as a story-making point of view. Rian Johnson could have made that whole thing so much better, so the vast majority of people isn't now questioning that after the film. We could have had the exact same thing throughout the whole film, but maybe we just have a scene like midway through with Holdo talking to her second in command or whatever about the plan, and that she doesn't trust anyone, and something like that. So we could then get behind her, so we don't feel that she's the traitor, because then we feel that she's the traitor and she's the baddie, and we're behind Poe, and then it then turns out that she's the goodie, and then Poe accepts it straight away, which fine, because Leia's telling him, but then we feel a little bit hard done by, because we're just like, no, because you were mis-selling us. You were selling us that she's this bad person, and now apparently she isn't. And it's another scenario where the film could have been so much better if it was filmed and wrote and written. There we go, got it in the end. And written better. But it wasn't. And this is why I want to do this. This is why I want to make these... This is why I want to get into this industry. Because then I can say, oh, I know how it feels. I understand your pain. You were thinking this, and then it turns out no one liked it. And then I can respect them, I can understand them. Because at the moment, I'm pissed off. Because this film... I want to watch it again for the scenes that I liked. But that means having to watch the crap scenes. And I don't want to do that. So now... It's just so annoying. So, to try and sum up the film, there's a lot of good bits in the film. There's a lot of bad bits in the film. The comedy is too heavy-handed, and the comedy doesn't suit the style of the film and the franchise that it's in. I'm content about Rian Johnson getting a trilogy. I'm not thrilled about it, but I'm okay with it because when you have a trilogy compared with a second, the second installment in a trilogy, when you have your own trilogy, you can do more about the characters, and you haven't got those set character bios to work with you. You can do your completely own thing. So I'm okay about him getting his own trilogy. I'm okay about that, but yeah, this film, worst film in the Star Wars universe, because of all the films in the Star Wars universe, this is the one that I least want to watch all the way through. I think it is. I think this is the one I least want to watch all the way through, because there isn't enough with it that I can watch and enjoy. You know, the prequels, with the first film, with Phantom Menace, I loved Qui-Gon, I loved Obi-Wan, and I loved Darth Maul, and I liked the Jedi Council. They made some poor decisions, but I liked them. So there's enough in that film for me to watch through it, you know. And the pod racing was cool as well. And you had one of these, and you had one of the best fight scenes in all Star Wars history at the end of the film. You know, and it worked. It worked. Episode 2, not a lot happened in that film. And there is some poor dialogue in that film. Don't get me wrong, there is some poor dialogue. And in that whole trilogy, there's some really bad dialogue. But then you've got Anakin's story, and Anakin really comes out in that film. You know, he's starting to turn. And that's so cool to see. And then finally, in Revenge of the Sith, you've got him, you've got Darth Vader. Again, some poor dialogue in that film. But there's so much in that film that's awesome. In this film, the thing that really lets it down is the comedy. I'm not gonna lie, there's too much comedy in this film, and the comedy doesn't suit the franchise. That's my biggest issue with this film. You know, the dialogue I can go past, it's just the comedy. We've done it! We figured out we can sum up. The thing that doesn't work with The Last Jedi is the comedy doesn't suit the film and the franchise. Done. Now time to try and edit this down, because we've gone quite long. But yeah, so guys, thank you guys so much for watching Lucasfilm. If in like 10 years or so, when I've made it as a filmmaker, as a screenwriter and director, if you see this video, sorry, about The Last Jedi, I apologise, but it is my opinion. You know, this film wasn't my cup of tea, and if you give me a shot, trust in me, I will do you proud, and I'll make you a serious, gritty film with not this soppy comedy in. But yeah, for everyone else, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. The videos might die down a little bit because I've got other things to do. You know, I've got work, I've got these screenplays that I'm writing, so the videos are going to die down a little bit. But we're still going to aim for at least 1 or 2 a week, especially next week or the week after, whenever it is that Rebel comes out, then we can do that as well. But either way,